You might say that this chapter contains two deaths, the death of Samuel Hamilton and the death of the old nature of Adam Trask. We hear about Samuel Hamilton's death through his son Tom, and I ask myself, why, of all the characters in the novel, do we hear about Samuel's death through him, Samuel's son Tom? Well, the only thing we really know about Tom is that Tom is the least articulate, the least able to put into words of poetry or prose what something like the death of the great man, his father, would mean. And so maybe we, the readers, join Tom in our inarticulateness, our inability to express what the death of a great man on this earth means. At any rate, we hear about it through Tom, and quickly, as soon as we hear about Samuel's demise, we are ready to bury him. So Adam Trask hops on a train and, surprisingly to himself, feels compelled to go to the funeral. And so with Adam, we've seen him confronting truths before. As a very young boy, he realized his father Cyrus was not a great man, but rather a man pretending to be a great man. But I don't think it was until he came to Washington, D.C. and saw the way that other people respected his pathetic father that Adam really confronted the truth that there was such a gaping distance between who Cyrus thought he was, who Cyrus tried to be, versus the man Adam knew him to be. And I don't think it was until he visited him there in Washington, D.C., and he faced the truth of things that Adam had the realization that his father, though a devil, though a monster, really couldn't hurt him. And I think that's why he was able to refuse his father's demand that he go to West Point, but rather re-enlist for another 5 years. Same thing as he traipsed around the country after both his first and second stint with the Army. He finally goes home to face his brother Charles, and the same thing happens. He sees Charles, and all of a sudden, all the fear and the dread of the violent nature of Charles, it just suddenly dissipates when Adam is willing to face the truth. And so he's faced the truth of his father, of his brother, and now maybe his spiritual or emotional father, Samuel Hamilton. He sort of faces it and he sort of doesn't. He goes to the funeral, but he stands as far back as possible. He sees the dead face of Samuel Hamilton, but he chooses to preserve the man alive. And so it's a wonderful tension in that Adam is really wanting to honor his spiritual father, Samuel Hamilton, but it's also a little bit sweet, in my opinion, that he can't face it all at once. He's going to need some time to process this one. And so he refuses to stare reality fully in the face. But in this instance, when it comes to the death of a really good and courageous friend, I think there's something kind of nice about Adam's inability to face it. And so what will make someone like Samuel Hamilton live on past his own mortality? Well, it's if the love and the truth that he spoke would actually transcend the borders of his life and spill over into those he poured his love into after his death. So first, Adam needs a little bit of courage, and so he goes and he has drinks, and he's cold and shivering and chilled, and he's trying to drink it away, but he asks the bartender, where will I find Kate's place? Where do I find Kathy? Where do I find my ex-wife? And so he finds her, he tracks her down, and like Cyrus so many years before, like Charles so many years before, Adam is finally ready to face down his demons, face down his monsters, and he's there with Kathy, and he finally sees her, and he explicitly articulates that. I never saw you, but now I see you. You were a projection, you were someone I wanted you to be, but now I actually see who you are. And so Steinbeck notes that in even her looks. Yes, she's still pretty, but Adam, for the first time with clear eyes, which is ironic because he's just had a drink, he's cold and shivering. The first time, though, with clear eyes that Samuel has been able to articulate, you didn't really see her. You saw what you wanted to see, and so in that sense, you actually were a blind man. Well, now he's not anymore. She's still pretty, but she has imperfections. And so Steinbeck's writing could seem misogynistic or chauvinistic, but I think really what he's trying to do, at least, is the reader sees Kate through Adam's eyes, and for the first time, she's not the perfect queen that Adam has built her up to be, but rather the real person. And we've seen what happens when she starts drinking before. Didn't go well for Mr. Edwards. He heard a whole lot of truth that he never had bargained for. The same with Faye. So terrible, terrible things happen when Kathy starts drinking, and yet here she does again. And she starts drinking. Adam has already been drinking, and yet there is a clarity and a paradoxical or maybe even ironic clarity. Even though Adam is under the influence, he is already a free man. He feels light. A burden has gone because he has finally seen this monster, this devil, for who she is, and he knows that he's going to be okay after that. They get into a number of discussions on the nature of evil, and Adam says something very insightful that almost feels like it belongs out of the mouth of Samuel Hamilton rather than Adam, but I think that's what we're seeing here. On the evening of Samuel Hamilton's burial, his spirit lives on. He has a resurrection power in Adam's life because Adam says, you know what your problem is, Kate? It's not that you hate evil, it's that you hate good. It bothers you that other people are good. Other people are not all bad, and you live in a simple world where everyone is selfish and evil. Well, Kate believes that she has proof of that. She has hundreds of photographs of politicians and pastors and professors in compromising positions, doing things that in the light of day in public they would be ashamed of. And so for Kathy, that's evidence that everyone is evil all the time. Adam, with his Tim Shell worldview, he begs to differ. Even if those things aren't socially acceptable, even if most people would consider some of those things immoral, that doesn't negate, that doesn't take away the good that those people do. And the good that those people do, that's what bothers you, Kathy. And so they discuss good and evil. They discuss their history. Kate wants to get across the point of what a fool Adam was, and Adam doesn't want to argue with her. He just sits there grinning, smiling, calm, at peace. That after over a decade of creating this monster in his mind, now that he finally confronts Kate, now that he finally sees Kathy for who she is, he finally finds his state of zen, his calmness. So she really only has one more card left to play to try to hurt him, and she brings up the possibility that the boys are not hers. Certainly she's the mother, but who's the father? And so it seems like Charles and Kathy had relations once, and Adam and Kathy had relations once, is how I interpret the last part here. And so it seems like a 50-50 chance whether the boys, Cal and Aaron, are even Adams. And so Kathy tries to destroy him with that information. Well, John Steinbeck was married 3 times, and his second wife is sort of the basis of the character of Kathy. And when Steinbeck is writing East of Eden, he has 2 young boys at home, and his second wife said the same thing. She said she had affairs, and how could he even be sure? It was doubtful that the boys were even his. So when Steinbeck writes this chapter, we're used to the Hamilton chapters being autobiographical, which they are, but here, even in the Trask chapter, Steinbeck is writing straight out of his own personal trauma and extreme hurt with his second wife, who was pure evil. And so critics of the novel will always point out how unrealistic Kathy is, how people aren't all bad, and interesting characters are a mix of good and evil. And Steinbeck was famous for saying, "I agree with you, except I know this person." And so Kathy might not seem realistic, but Steinbeck's retort is the problem is she was a real woman. And so anyway, we have the victory of Adam over the fantasy of Kate in this chapter. And so Samuel Hamilton is dead, but he's going to live on through a lot of people, but certainly Adam Trask. And Adam Trask was a live person, but who had been living as though he was dead. And now that he's faced his demons, just like before he did with Cyrus and Charles, now with Kathy, maybe he'll live forever. So it's goodbye to the old Adam Trask and hello to the new Adam Trask.